Welcome everybody to another episode of Toast Time. It is back to the old days yet again. It is me and my co-host Jackson Law doing it, just the duos. Uh hey, listen, we've been here before. We can do it. Ain't no
Yeah,
big deal.
it's fine. We're good.
We we
And it's not
all
like
good.
anything bad happened. It's just we good.
Man, we good in every hood. All right. So, I'll get right into this. My buttery pick, I really hate giving this team credit for anything because I hate them. I'm sure everybody in the NBA does, except for their fans. And this is the Brooklyn Nets. But the Brooklyn Nets got to be my buttery pick just because the level of dominance that they're showing in these playoffs is something that I personally don't really remember seeing too well. I mean, the only thing I can think of to this level of dominance is when KD was on the Warriors, to be honest. But even they struggled a little bit with the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals that one year. Uh, but this is just like getting ridiculous. I mean, I was hearing all this talk about how Giannis and the Bucks. This is teams that struggle in the playoffs year after year. One time they eventually break through. And I was sitting there saying to myself, "I'm sorry, but it ain't this year. Not against the Nets." KD has come into these playoffs and he is hungry. He wants to win. And you know what? For all the crap I talk about Kyrie, when he actually wants to play, he's one of the best players in the league. I mean, it's just simple. It's just the guy can turn it on and off whenever he damn well pleases. And James Harden barely played last game. He actually played. I think he played 2 minutes, if that. Re-injured his hamstring and had to miss the rest of the game. The Brooklyn Nets had five players in double digits, and they were up on the Bucks by 49 at one point. It's not even competitive, and this is coming off the Bucks kicking the absolute crap out of the Miami Heat, sweeping them in 4 games, the previous Eastern Conference Finals champions. You would have thought the Bucks would at least be putting up a fight. I mean, these games aren't even close. By the time we get to halftime, it's already a 25 point, 30-point hole. I mean, the way the Nets are looking right now, there is nobody in the Eastern Conference that even has a remotely close shot at beating them. Hell, I don't even know if anybody in the West is really going to be able to beat these guys. I mean, the Jazz or the Suns would be my pick to beat them, but still, like I could very well see the Nets just demolishing the rest of the competition this year. They just look too good. Blake Griffin is turning it back to the Clipper days. After he just robbed Detroit, he's dunking over Giannis. When earlier this season they were just talking about how he doesn't dunk anymore. Yeah, well he really was just saving it all for when he got traded. I mean, it's not fair. It's really just not fair for the rest of the league. But yeah, man, the Nets are my buttery pick this week. They just have showed that they are just on a completely other level than the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, it's crazy how good they are. And even before the Harden trade happened, I had them winning it all. Just because the supporting cast that they had. Spencer Dinwiddie's still down, obviously, but they also had Karis LeVert, who was working really well for them early in the season. When they made that trade, I mean, obviously they were OP because they got Harden, but even without Harden and the pieces that they gave up to get Harden, they're still the best team in the league, and it's 100% because of KD and Kyrie. You're right. When Kyrie we've both given him crap on this show. I've given him crap on other shows and in articles, and the man's turning it on, and he's one of the top point guards in the league when he's got it going. And listen, I'm a pick on your fandom a little bit here because it's one of the biggest Laker fan accounts that has a lot of clout. He put on there. He made one of those tier lists
Yeah.
where it's like you have like S tier, A tier, B
Yeah.
tier, and it was like ranking the best players in the league when they're fully healthy and in their prime. The last time I saw him, KD was not on that top tier. There's about maybe 5 or 6 other players on that top tier, and there was maybe 4 players in front of KD on the next tier, which means that KD was an afterthought before those guys. The way that website works, where you drag them up there and you put them somewhere. Okay. KD is the best player in the NBA right now. Okay. I honestly think even back when he was with Golden State, he was the best player in the league. Giannis is an MVP. Many considered, what many consider as a great, fantastic defensive player. Man got crossed hard. He was on skates when he was guarding KD. Okay, Giannis doesn't know what to do. Budenholzer doesn't know what to do. He's gone after this. Okay, if they get swept, he's got to be gone. All right, we've already seen one coach that's been somewhere for too long and hasn't had success, and Terry Stotts in Portland finally go. Can't wait to see what happens in Portland now with Dame. But they're just so good, dude. And the meme where it's like it starts out with a normal guy's face and he's slowly putting clown makeup on and puts the nose and the wig on. That's me thinking finally we get parity in the NBA when KD and Kyrie went to the Nets, and then they finally get healthy and it's like, all right, sweet. We're going to have we may have like 2 contenders out East and we may have like 3 out West, and it's anybody's ball game. All right. When it gets down to those teams, they're going to have to show up, but it's not looking like the case. It looks like the Nets may run the table.
We could not have been more wrong on that at all.
No,
don't blame me because I thought the same thing. I really did. And we could not have been any more wrong on that.
So we'll go into my buttery pick, and I'm actually representing today. You can't read the back of it, but this is a jersey with the number 15 on it for Nikola Jokic, who is the 2021 NBA MVP. Well deserved. Had him picked as the MVP for the majority of the season. He was one of my favorites coming in. And I always had it between him and Embiid. But then when Embiid goes down, and the fact that the 76ers, even with Embiid missing the amount of games that he did, it was like 20 plus games, and still getting the number 1 seed out East, you had that kind of diminishes that a little bit when you talk about when you fully encompass the MVP talk. And then out West, you had Jokic. He has his second best player go down in Murray, gone for the season. They're like a 6 seed at the time when that happens. They get elevated to a 3rd seed, which granted, it's also because the Lakers had injury issues and the Clippers tanked to get the Mavs and almost lost to them in 7. Don't forget it, kids. The Clippers tanked to get the Mavs. They sold the last couple games of the season and they almost lost that series. They advanced, there's that, but they almost lost it in 7. Remember that, kids. It almost came back to bite them in the butt. But just his statistics for this season, his stat line is incredible for a guy that's over 7 foot tall. 26 points a game, shot almost 57% from the field, almost 39% from 3, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, about a block and a half, a steal and a half, and less than a block a game for his totals. And he's also what's the proper way to phrase this? I'm trying to think. He is the highest drafted player, or I guess technically lowest drafted player.
Okay, I got you.
To ever win the award. He was picked 41st overall in the 2nd round. Everyone is really funny because I have
a steal.
Steal. Picking an MVP at 41st in the 2nd round. Dude, okay, so like the video that was going around Nuggets Twitter, and I follow a lot of people in Nuggets Twitter. It's not just Garrett, shout out Garrett, Vendetta, Denver fan. I have other Denver fans as friends. The video that was going around, it was the pick. It was when the pick was turned in for Nikola Jokic. There was a Taco Bell commercial running Like they weren't even at the like it didn't show analysis of Jokic. They didn't show film. They didn't show him getting the call with his family. It was just a Taco Bell commercial was going on. The pick is in, and then they moved on to the next one because it was round two, pick 42 next. Not many people were caring at the time. And he goes from Taco Bell commercial to MVP of the league. Congratulations, Jokic. Well deserved. More on this next segment.
You know, it's amazing that absolutely love the memes that have been going around of Jokic.
Like the picture of him as a kid, and he's
When
just
he
like
was like
super
10
fat.
years old, he's like all chubby and like he looks like how I looked like in like fifth grade. Like he was like, what if I told you this guy grew up to be the MVP?
Never give up on your dreams, kids.
Never give up on your dreams. It's crazy. Like I mean, credit to Jokic, and he absolutely deserves it. It's just nice to see that he's finally, getting his recognition. I feel like he even got overshadowed a little bit last season when Jamal Murray was going off for like 50 in every playoff game that they had, pretty much. But he was a big reason why they came back from 3-1 on the Clippers. Like it wasn't just Jamal Murray dropping 50. I mean, Jokic was getting double doubles and triple doubles almost every one of those games where they were staving off elimination. So credit to him, kept it up this season and got himself an MVP. Still, there is more work to be done because, as we know in the NBA, yeah, it's nice to get the personal awards and all that, but there's only one thing that matters, and it's winning the championship. So we will see what happens with the Nuggets over what should be a great series with the Suns. I'm thinking it goes either 6 or 7, and should see the Nuggets back in the Western Conference Finals, maybe, hopefully, because I hate the Suns.
I mean, I understand why. I understand why.
Personal reasons. It's all right. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. Not really their fault, but my burnt pick this week, and this should honestly be the burnt pick of like the past 4 years, is the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, how many times are we going to go through this with them? Like, seriously, it is year after year after year where people are picking the Bucks. Oh, the Bucks are going to the finals. They're going to win the East. I mean, these guys can't even get to the conference final. They haven't been to the conference finals they got there, I believe it was 3 years ago. They got to the conference finals.
Maybe.
I think it was 3 years ago they got to the conference finals. They lost. I think that was a series they were up 2-0 and got like smoked the next 4 games. I don't really recall. All I know is they just can't break through. Like this team cannot break through. I mean, yeah, you got Giannis, who is top, whatever you want to rank him. I think he's top 5 player in the league. He's won 2 MVPs already. He's one of the best players in the league. Chris Middleton ain't no slouch either. I mean, put some respect on Chris Middleton's name because that man will go out there and get you 20 to 30 points on any given night. I mean, like you can't even sit there and really say that Giannis doesn't have help. I mean, the guy's got some help. Like he really does. He's got decent help. It's just the team just for whatever reason they just can't get over the hump of anybody. And it's a different team every year that does them in. Like this year it's the Nets, and you could say like you could probably lay back on them a little bit. Like you don't have to like I'm not gonna kill them just because the Nets are so superior and so much more dominant than everybody else in the league. It's just bad luck that they just ran into this buzzsaw right now. But regardless, I mean, how long is it going to be before the Bucks break through and at least get to the finals? I mean, are we going to sit here and have one of these things where Giannis is just one of the best players in the league but can't get out of the second round of the playoffs and is just going to continue this way for his whole career? Because he's going to stay in Milwaukee his whole career. Like he's the type of guy that he's all about the loyalty, and he just signed that extension for the Supermax deal last year. So, he's there to stay. Milwaukee's got to do something to help him. I tell you what, Mike Budenholzer, like you said before, he ain't the man for the job. I'm sorry. You got to change something, and the coach is definitely one that's got to go. So you got to get him out of there. Giannis just needs to keep working on his game. Uh, one critique I'll give about Giannis, and that's what really hurts him in the playoffs, is his free throws. Free throw shooting in the playoffs is so crucial, and you can see it's even more this year, which I didn't think it was going to play that big of a factor because I thought that refs would be swallowing the whistle. But as we can see, for the first two rounds, they're not. They're calling fouls left and right. Everybody's shooting free throws. Everyone's shooting 15 to 20 free throws a game. You got to be able to hit your free throws. And if you're Giannis, you're more than likely having the ball in your hands a majority of the time. So you got to be able to hit your free throws. He's got to work on free throws to the point where, he's not no Shaq at the free throw line. So I don't know, man. The Bucks are just
I saw
not good.
I saw a picture and it was Giannis and Ben Simmons, and it was like, gun to your head, one of them has to make it for you to live. Who do you choose? And everyone was just like, I'm gonna just make sure that the family's straight. Because Ben Simmons or Giannis, who you choosing at the free throw line? Just like,
I see someone said I'm picking Giannis because at least I have time to say my goodbyes.
Okay, that's funny. That's funny. I didn't see that one, but that's really funny. But yeah, man, it's just they fool everybody every year, and I'll have something similar along those lines for not this segment, but our extra crispy segment. So not to spoil anything there,
Yep.
but they sold their souls for Drew Holiday. Of all people, I love Drew Holiday, but the man is not worth that many picks. Like, oh my gosh, it was like 5 first-round picks in total what you're giving up. It was like 3 unprotected, and then it was like 2 pick swaps or the right to pick swap. Like, my gosh, that was so much for, and it's like, it's not even like a fringe all-star type of guy. It's a guy that just,
he's like, he's a nice player, but
yeah.
I even said when they did the trade, it was not worth it. Like, that was not worth it at all.
No, like Memphis got 1 first-round pick for Mike Conley. And I know they're like apples and oranges, but Mike Conley was always a fringe all-star. He just happened to be in the West where there was better point guards.
Yeah.
And this season, too, he was good enough. He was a reservist when too many people missed due to injury or COVID or whatever. He got the call from Adam Silver, and it's like, you're an all-star this year. So shout out Mike Conley on that. But as I alluded to in our buttery segment, my burnt segment is going to be the people that are still holding on and arguing that Joel Embiid should have been MVP. We know how Philadelphia fans are, okay? And like I said, for basically the first 20 games, 25, 30 games or so of the season, it was an extremely tight race. And in my mind, I said it was going to come down to really 2 things, or a couple things. It was going to come down to where they finish at in the standings and who stays healthy. And Joel Embiid missed over 20 games. Nikola Jokic, he played for all 72 games. He's the first MVP since Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, my guy. First MVP since Kobe Bryant to play 100% of the regular season games and win the MVP. Now, fellow Vendetta podcaster Manny, who's part of the All Day Everyday show, he kept saying he's an Embiid guy, and he was saying that all Jokic is getting is the perfect attendance award. That is simply part of it, okay? Is being healthy, all right? You can't play 19, 20 games and then get the MVP award, okay? When everybody was talking about last year how Zion should have got the Rookie of the Year award, he played less than a quarter of the season. There's no way you can give someone that, okay? In fact, I don't even think he has still played a full season's worth of games, meaning I don't think he's played 82 games yet in the NBA, which this year, obviously, COVID, stuff like that, but still coming off an injury, still sitting out sometimes. I do not think the man has gotten to a full 82 games worth of games played. And by the way, that's also the team that the NBA tries to shove down everyone's throats, and they didn't even make the play-in this year. They were like 2 or 3 games out of the play-in. So screw the NBA for making me watch the Pelicans lose every night on ESPN. Got sick and tired of watching that. But, and then you also have to look at, like I said, where they finished, but there's like a caveat that comes with that. Because since Joel Embiid was out for a significant amount of time, where did his team finish? They finished in the number 1 spot. Is that mostly because of Joel Embiid? Of course. It's because Joel Embiid is the best player on the 76ers. But he also has good help. If you are the same type of person that thinks Ben Simmons is a point god and that Tobias Harris is worth all the money that he's been giving, and that Danny Green and Seth Curry, now I like Seth Curry, but like Danny Green and Seth Curry are wonderful additions. And then you also have like someone like Matisse Thybulle and all the other shooting help that not Danny Ainge, Daryl Morey has gone out to put around this team to get them in this position. Then yeah, he's got a lot of help. Nikola Jokic has a lot of help, but his number 2 guy goes down, out for the season. It's all up to Jokic, and he gets them to the number 3 spot. And that's what I told my Nuggets friends is like, I think Jokic can win it. He just has to get a top 3 finish to finish out the season, top 3 seed. And that's exactly what he did. And then if you want to look at purely from a statistics standpoint, because again, statistics are a part of the game. They're not 100% of it. It's a mixture of a bunch of things. Toe to toe, this is how they shape up. And remember, Joel Embiid's stats are he played in 20 games less. All right. Points. Nikola Jokic, 26. Joel Embiid, 28.5. Basically 26.5 and 28.5. Field goal percentage, 56% for Jokic, 51% for Embiid. 3-point shooting, 38%, almost 39% for Jokic, 37% for Embiid. Rebounds, 10.8 rebounds for Jokic, 10.6 rebounds for Embiid. Assists, 8.3 assists for Jokic, 2.8 for Embiid, and then one steal and 1.5 blocks a game for Embiid, 1 steal and less than a block a game for Jokic. The assist numbers are night and day, and that's what also gives Jokic so much leverage over Embiid, because that is an entire aspect of the game of basketball that Embiid does not have. I'm not saying Embiid's terrible at passing, but I am saying that the way that Jokic is used, he is more valuable of a point guard almost than Jamal Murray is. Jamal Murray is like a scoring point guard. Nikola Jokic is used as a point center. He's like the only point center in the league. So you have to look at it from that perspective, not strictly from assists, but the usage and how Jokic is used. Embiid, they dump it off to him, he gets a bucket. Jokic, that's the entire offense. And I'm not meaning just purely from a scoring standpoint. I mean how the players move around the court in the half court set on offense. Jokic is that important. So when I see stuff on Twitter, it's like I respect a lot of people, and this is from people that I know and even follow some of them that are in positions where they are in mainstream media. Okay, so they do this full time for a living. I respect a lot of people who have NBA MVP votes, but they made the wrong decision. There was no player in the NBA more valuable to his team than Joel Embiid. All right, dudes with check marks are talking about Joel Embiid is the best player of the year, stuff like that. Or it's like NBC Sports Philadelphia is like Joel Embiid should have been the MVP. He shouldn't have been. If he would have stayed healthy, perhaps, or if he had an absolutely incredible season, like 35 points a game or something like that, and the 76ers ended up still staying the 1 seed, maybe, perhaps, but it would have to have been an incredible season for him. So maybe next year, Joel, but just please put it to rest. Move on. It's done because it is official.
So when you look at the MVP, I know people like have an argument about the award. like the name itself, the most valuable player, but that's what it is. It's not the best player. It's not the best. It's not the best player in the league award. It's the most valuable player, meaning it's the most valuable to your team, and more often than not, your team has to be like very good in terms of the standings. You have to be anywhere from one to four, 1 to 5, maybe, but you got to be up there. So when you go and look at the statistics, they're pretty much you could call it dead even. You call it dead even almost everything. I mean,
Yeah.
2 points here, a point there, except
Yeah.
for assist, like you said, except for assist. That's a big margin. Jokic is 8. What would you say? Like 8, 9
Yeah.
to Joel Embiid's 2. That's a big difference. Also, big difference is the fact Jokic loses his second best player, and not that his second best player is a schmuck. His second best player uh, is arguably one of the best point guards in the league scoring wise. He's one of the best pure scorers. Jamal Murray is in the league. He can, as we saw in the playoffs last year, he can go out and get you 50 on any given night. That boy can drop 50 nuggets on your head real quick. So it's not like Jokic lost a second fiddle, and a second fiddle was not that good. His second fiddle is very good. Also, Joel Embiid has he has a lot more support around him. That team still got the 1 seed, and I know people don't. I don't know. Like I like to break like this argument. It holds water because the Eastern Conference is a weaker conference, and it's just been a fact, and it will be a fact until we can have
Yeah.
teams over 500, you know, actually being, like barely getting into the playoffs,
Yeah. And
not being 2 games under 500, and you're like the 7th seed. Like
yeah,
you can't
and the
have that.
Nets took the only reason why they got the 1 seed is because the Nets took the regular season off. That's it. That's the
The
only
net,
reason why
yeah,
they have
exactly,
the 1 seed. If
exactly.
the Nets tried for all 72 games, then yeah.
But also, if you're not there for 20 less games than the guy you're competing against, that's got to be taken into account. 100% that has to be taken into account. You can't just play, a little more than half the season, and the guy that you're competing against for MVP, he plays the whole season, drags his team to a 3rd seed in a tougher conference with a lot tougher teams. You can't just go and sit there. Oh well, the injury doesn't matter. Whatever the part he was just there. Like he got the attendance. It's not just because of his attendance, but that stuff has to be taken into account. We had at least 4 to 5 different guys in MVP in like lock MVP talks this year, and is earlier in the year it was, oh, LeBron's getting MVP. He's on it. He's a man on a mission. Like the Lakers are cruising, blah, blah, blah. Okay, guess what happened? LeBron went down and missed about a month and a half. Immediately, he's out of the conversation, even though the Lakers fell from the 2 seed in the West all the way to 7 in the time that he was out. Okay, that didn't matter because he missed so much time. So you can't possibly give him the award. That's out the
Mhm.
window. Then it went to, oh, Embiid going to be MVP. Well, he gets hurt. He misses about a month. He missed about a month or a little more, depending on how whatever they did. But he misses 20 games. Okay, so now he got bumped down from 1 to probably 3 in the rankings. Then next up was Steph Curry. Steph Curry was being talked about like crazy. Oh, if the Warriors can go on a run here, and Steph Curry is leading the charge through that like 3 weeks where Steph Curry was absolutely balling. All right, they got into the play-in game. They lost 2 straight. They lose to the Lakers, Grizzlies. They're done. It's like, okay, well, Steph Curry isn't the MVP. Then you got Jokic is just the most logical choice left. They didn't have a long losing streak at all this year. Jokic didn't get hurt, dragged his team to the 3 seed, and it is what it is. There's no point in arguing about the MVP stuff. Like it doesn't matter. Just go and try to win yourself a title because the finals
Mhm.
MVP to me matters a lot more than regular season MVP. I don't
That's
care if
true. That's
anybody on
true.
my team wins MVP. I care about who's winning finals MVP. That's
Yeah.
But that's just me. Growing up a Kobe fan, Kobe never gave a crap about the MVP. He just wanted Finals MVP.
It's the only MVP that matters.
Uh, moving on to my extra crispy. Oh boy, speaking of the Lakers, my extra crispy is my teams. They all suck. They all suck. Okay. I guess I'll start with the Lakers. Uh, we kind of just had bad luck, to be honest with you. And I mean, Anthony, we were like the Lakers were cruising. They were up 2-1 on the Suns. Anthony Davis was playing great. LeBron didn't have to give it, try to push his body too hard or whatever. I mean, to be quite honest
Mhm.
with you, in my opinion, I think LeBron fully gave up as soon as he realized AD was not going to be able to play the rest of the series because
Yeah, he was not as aggressive
no,
those final couple of games when AD went down.
first of all, the game five where they got blown out of the water. I think you could tell, like literally within the first 10 minutes, LeBron was like, "Damn, we down 15, almost 20. I'm done." Game six, AD, he says AD can't. AD just didn't have it. He tried to give it a go, couldn't play, which I give AD a ton of credit for because at least he tried. Like he really
He,
tried to
yeah,
play.
he probably shouldn't have, but he tried.
Yeah, yeah, no. The way I seen him move, I was just like, okay, well, I see that he clearly has nothing, but
No.
at least he gave it a shot. But LeBron packed, in my opinion, LeBron packed it in because in no way do you just lose game six on your home court. Like, you weren't aggressive at all throughout the game. You only started getting aggressive in the third quarter, which kills me. It really does. Like, I understand LeBron is not the type of player that Jordan or Kobe was, or even guys like Damian Lillard or Steph Curry. He's not that type of player. Like, he's not just going to be that like pure scorer and just go out there and just try to get you a bucket every single possession. He's trying to facilitate and all that, but I'm sorry. Sometimes the facilitation doesn't work when the rest of your team is hot garbage. Because that's what the Lakers supporting cast was this playoff series was absolute hot garbage. Nobody could hit a shot. And I mean by nobody could hit a shot. And he's still passing to them.
Yeah.
Still trying to make them like at some point you just got to be like, I'm LeBron James. I got to take over. Like I'm the king. I'm all the, like I'm sorry, but you got to do it. I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy. If that was Kobe, there's no way in hell Kobe would have not been taking at least like 30 shots that game. He would have been aggressive from the tip. That would have been Kobe's game, and it would have been you're going to have to pry it from his hands to win that game. And LeBron just wasn't aggressive until like midway through the third quarter, and then they got it close, but he was like all out of gas by the fourth quarter. He just gave up because then he starts talking about Toon Squad in the press conference. That just really pissed me off. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you just lost the playoff
Hey, we
series.
lost, but go see my new movie.
Yeah, like, bro, shut up.
Tickets on
Honestly,
sale.
like that really bothered me. But anyway, it was what it was. I mean, the Lakers won championship last year. I'm not gonna lie to you; it'll satisfy me for another 6 years because I got a ring. I mean, I haven't got to celebrate a Lakers championship in got like 11 years.
Yeah.
So, at least I got one. Now to the other team.
Yeah.
Now to the other team. The worst one, the worst of the worst is the god awful, abysmal, just dying, rotting corpse of the New York Yankees. So Friday, I went to the game against the Red Sox. It was a series opener, I believe. Yeah, series opener. I go with my girlfriend, and I'm trying to have a nice time. Like we get there kind of early, go and get ourselves nice chicken. We get ourselves a nice chicken bucket. You get the chicken tenders, bucket of French fries. I'm all happy. I got myself some Bud Light seltzers. I'm like, I'm in a good mood. Top of the first inning, 3-run home run for the Red Sox, and I was just straight pissed for the rest of the game because they amount no offense yet again, and it's just every game the Yankees, if they go down more than a run in the first inning, it's over because they can't hit regardless. I mean, they had chances upon chances in that game to do anything. Bottom of the first, we got runners on first and second. I sit there and I go to my girl. I said, you know what's gonna happen here with no outs? I said, we're gonna hit into a double play because that's what the Yankees do. We're gonna hit into a double play here, and we're not gonna score a single run. What happens? Hit into a double play. I said, this is unfreaking believable. Not only do the Yankees lead the league in double plays hit into this year,
Ooh.
but then I got my absolute puppet of a manager in Aaron Boone not getting himself thrown out of the game in that series finale with the freaking strike three call that was about a foot outside in the other batter's box.
I saw that.
Okay. He let Phil Nevin, the third base coach, who was just getting his ass kicked by COVID. Like, he had it really bad, lost like 20 pounds from it. Like, he was really sick. He still had the IV port in his arm, and he was out there screaming at the ump, and Aaron Boone wasn't. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Aaron Boone had two of his coaches thrown out of the game before he did. That's just a failure of leadership. And I will not go to another Yankee game this year until one of two things happen. One, they win like 7 games in a row and they show me they can actually score runs so I can enjoy myself at a game. Or two, Aaron Boone is fired. That's the only way I will show my face in Yankee Stadium again this year.
Is all of New York calling for Boone's job right now?
I believe so. And if they're not, they're stupid.
But I mean, for your teams though, I mean, Alabama, they re-upped Saban.
Hey,
so
listen, no matter how down bad I am with any of my teams, I always got Alabama, knowing that I'm at least going to be in the playoff.
Yeah,
I always got a shot.
When you're Alabama, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll win it or you don't.
Yeah,
those are like literally straight up. You're one of the top 2 teams that's gonna get, like, it's gonna take an act of God for them to not make the playoff. Okay, and almost had that because of COVID. Yeah. You almost had a literal act of God.
Yeah,
stop them from getting in there. But college football saved. But we'll also see because Dabo Debo, I forget how to say his name, head coach for Clemson. He's going hard. Yeah, Dabo Sweeney. He's going hardcore at trying to get Archie Manning, the Manning nephew, there.
And you better stay your dirty fingers away from him. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dude, that kid looks good. Okay.
Arch Manning better. All I know is Arch Manning better be going Alabama.
Well, see, that's why I think they upped Saban, even though, like, at the end of the contract, man's going to be 77 and still coaching. If he makes it that far, he'll probably retire at the end of that. But good Lord, what a run. Good Lord, what a run. Every fan in the SEC and a couple of other teams that have lost to Alabama in championship games will be rejoicing that day. Not because of his career, but it's like, thank God it's over.
I hope you know that I already got my eyes on Arch Manning. I want another Manning to be wearing the Giants blue. I want another Manning quarterback. Give me another 15 years of Manning.
Dude, he's probably going to be one of the best Mannings. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say, like,
he's got a lot to live. He's got a
lot to live up. He's got a lot to live up. He's got a lot to live up. Let me rephrase what I just said.
Two uncles have won 4 Super Bowls combined.
He's got the potential.
There you go.
Because it's like it's like he's like Peyton-esque, the way that he's like a protege right now. And the attention that he's getting. Like, Eli had a lot of attention, but it was Peyton. Peyton was the guy.
Peyton,
and how ironic would it be, though? Because it's the third Manning brother that didn't play football. That what if he produced the best Manning quarterback of them all? Like, that's poetry. I don't know what in literacy you would call whatever that is, but it's funny. Okay. Maybe ironic. Ironic may be the term.
Yeah, probably
to use there.
That would be wonderful.
That would be something. All right. So for my extra crispy pick, I'm also going to be picking on a Los Angeles team, but it is not the Lakers. believe it or not. I am picking on the Los Angeles Clippers because I've been thinking about this and talked about it in some of the streams that we've been doing covering the NBA playoff games. And like, yeah, they ended up winning and moving on, beating the Mavs in 7 and moving on. And they're down 0-1 right now, but there's still a lot of series left.
Mm-hmm.
So they could eventually come out on top of it. But the Clippers are starting to turn into the Milwaukee Bucks of the West. Okay. It's a team that everybody has been getting burnt on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about a team that sold their soul. The Clippers sold everything, including the kitchen sink and their soul, to get Paul George. Okay. And it's like, I see people like Skip on TV and stuff. They're talking about how great this team is and stuff. I don't see it. There's dudes starting on that squad, and I'm like, who? That guy is starting? Terrence Mann is starting? Like, what is going on with the Clippers? And it's just, I don't like, if they lose here, like this is a big if. Like I said, there's still a lot of series left, but if they lose and they don't even make a Western Conference Finals, okay? Because would you say that this team, how headstrong they've gone into this, that it's championship or bust? Like last season was a
100%,
bust
100%
because they didn't get a championship. If they don't get a championship this year, it's a bust. They are a championship or bust team. They didn't even make the Western Conference Finals last year. If they don't make the Western Conference Finals this year, what makes you think that Kawhi Leonard is coming back? You gave Paul George a ton of money, and then the third guy that you gave a big contract to was Luke Kennard. I like Luke Kennard. I liked them in Detroit, but it was like 60 something million dollars what you gave the man. He has not been playing like that recently. He kind of has, like in the past 2 playoff games, he's played fairly well and shot well, but throughout the regular season, he wasn't. It's Luke Kennard. He's like a lesser version of Joe Harris and Duncan Robinson. He needs like another 10 years in the league before he gets to that level, maybe, if he even ever does. I've seen him play live. I liked him, but he wasn't impressed me. He's like on level with Grayson Allen. That's who I equate him to. But Grayson Allen's more athletic. If Kawhi Leonard leaves, this will be the most destitute franchise in the NBA. They may have to move. They may have to be so down bad, they may just be dissolved. Like the Clipper, like the organization itself may be no more. And then the ownership just goes and starts a new franchise to start from scratch. Because starting from scratch as an expansion team, you have better odds of succeeding in the future than what the Clippers will, because they gave up more first-round picks for the Paul George trade than anyone has ever given up in a trade. More than what Anthony Davis got. Surprisingly, Drew Holiday got an Anthony Davis ransom, okay? But they gave up more for that. And Paul George has been the most disappointing out of all 3 of those trades. James Harden didn't even fetch a price. James freaking Harden, an MVP of the NBA, did not fetch the price that Paul George fetched. Kudos to Sam Presti for fleecing them, because they were so desperate to get Kawhi in the building that they're like, we have to do this so we can get Kawhi and we'll figure the rest of it out. But they're not figuring the rest of it out. Paul George has good games, but it's not consistent enough to what we've seen from someone like Anthony Davis, that even with being injured, guess what? The cards fell right for them last year, where he had a lot of time to heal and just a short amount of time to play, and he stayed healthy and they won a championship. The Lakers did. And you even said it earlier, it was a question I was going to ask you. If the Lakers don't win another championship under the LeBron James and Anthony Davis tenure, it's still a success because you won a championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
It still is. This will be one of the biggest failures ever, because Kawhi left a championship winning team that without him the next year made a deep playoff run, and maybe, I'm not saying repeat, but they probably would have gotten back to the NBA Finals and had a chance to repeat if he had stayed in Toronto. But no, he wants to go to LA. He wants to go home to California. He wants to be the king of LA. And that was, we see now, a horrible, horrible decision. I don't think that they win a title. If you get to the finals, maybe he stays. If you lose in 7 in the Western Conference Finals, maybe the Kawhi stays. But if you lose this series to Utah, you're like, this playoffs right now, it's no longer a fight to win a title. It's a fight to keep Kawhi. It's a fight to keep what the few Clippers fans that are out there that I feel like are mostly bandwagoners. I feel like if I went to Los Angeles and the millions of people are there, I think I'll only find maybe a couple hundred, like maybe less than 100,000 fans, which sounds like a lot, but that's very minuscule when you're talking about Los Angeles and all of California. I think the Kings have more fans than the Clippers do in California.
They definitely do.
And that's a destitute franchise. The NBA will more than likely expand in the next less than 5 years to Las Vegas and Seattle. I guarantee you that. Let's say it happens 3 years from now. We get brand new teams. Like next year, it's announced you've had 2 separate business ventures that are saying one's bringing a team to Vegas, one's bringing a team to Seattle. There's already arenas in Vegas for them to play. There's an arena in Seattle that they could play in. It's like we're moving in there, new franchises. In 5 years of those franchises being instituted in the NBA, they will have better success than the Clippers will in the exact same time frame because they'll have more picks and they'll be able to build upon what they're doing. And Vegas and Seattle are 2 big markets that will attract a lot of free agent attention. I don't know what the future of the Clippers is going to hold. For all the 2K rebuilders on YouTube, the Clippers are going to be the most overused team to rebuild with because they're going to be the worst team. Yeah. The Orlando Magic have a brighter future than the Clippers do. I don't even know what to say anymore about the Clippers, man. It's just they're down bad, and they're basically going to be to the point where they're not going to be a franchise anymore, especially if Kawhi leaves. And I 100%, if they do not make it to the Western Conference Finals, he's out of there. You might as well write it off and guarantee it. He's out of there. He's going somewhere else. He's already hurt his reputation. So what does leaving do? Like that, you can't do any more harm than that. At least go somewhere and try to win a title for yourself.
Yeah.
Go to Miami if you want to. Go to the Knicks if you want to, which I probably wouldn't suggest that because the Nets are still there, but he could literally go to any other franchise and try to do what he did in Toronto. But now he should have stayed in Toronto. We see that now.
Yeah. 100% Kawhi should have stayed in Toronto. But like you said, this would be a bigger failure than the Chris Paul Lob City edition of the Clippers was a failure. This is just one of those monumental failures that I don't even know. Like you can't even think of anything worse than this. I mean, you did all this stuff you got Kawhi, you got Paul George, you sold your soul for the both of them, basically. You got that whole supporting cast around them last year, which like that whole team was basically like more or less they just like I hated that their whole mantra of like they all acted like that they won stuff before they won anything. Mm-hmm. Like when they were talking crap to Damian Lillard in the bubble. Like Pat Bev was talking crap to Damian Lillard in the bubble, and that whole Cancun on 3 thing spawned out.
Yeah,
dude, it's just been bad ever since that. And I'm telling you right now, not even Western Conference Finals. If they don't win the finals, Kawhi's gone, in my opinion, because I think he is going to just have flat out enough of this experiment with the Clippers, and people should really learn from this. The Clippers are forever going to be second fiddle to the Lakers in Los Angeles. And there is just, I'm sorry, but they have to move. You got to move. You got to move. You built all this stuff together to, take down the Lakers and Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Well, LeBron and Anthony Davis already won a championship. You guys didn't even make it there because you blew a 3-1 lead. Now you're playing the Jazz. All right, you're down 1-0, but still, you never know. You're probably not. Honestly, I would say that I'm going to tell you right now, they're probably not making it. They're probably not making the finals this year either. And even if they do, they're going to get absolutely smoked by the Nets anyway. Because if anyone's going to sit there and tell me that Paul George is going to have a clutch finals against KD, Kyrie, and Harden, yeah, that's never going to happen in a million years. That man couldn't even have a clutch playoff series against the Nuggets. Okay, up 3-1.
Up 3-1.
Up 3-1. He's
Yeah.
hitting the side of the backboard in clutch time threes. Dude's hitting the side of the backboard. Can't even put the ball on the rim. The Clippers are forever going to be a joke franchise. And honestly, the only way for them to erase this terrible history that they've had is to move. Either you first of all just move out of Los Angeles, or you go and you bring the team to Seattle or Vegas, depending on which city wants you guys more. But you got to change your name. It can't be the Clippers no more. Wherever you go,
No.
fully change the name. Just wash everything. Wash it all off. Just redo it. Just get rid of everybody. Blow it up.
At least just the initial draw. You'll suck and you won't own picks, but at least just the initial draw of a new team.
Yep.
And new jerseys in a new city where they'll be like, the Lakers are in town. Let's go watch LeBron. Or, the Nets are in town. The Celtics are in town. It will basically for a few years until you get your draft picks back. It will be, let's go watch another team play. That's essentially what it'll be. But you'll put more seats in the stands than you will at a Clippers game.
No, 100%. 100%. But anyway, we will take a quick break right here, and we will be right back.
The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, and baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So we're going into my banana bread pick this week, brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight. Don't forget, we have promo code Vendetta. Go on the website, 100% match bonus up to $100. Here's what I'm going to go with. We're going to look for Sunday, Game 4, Nets Bucks. Give me the over in Durant points, which probably, I think I got a good gauge on this. It's most likely going to be somewhere around 33.5 points or 32. Could be as high as 34. But honestly, if it's anything over, if it's 34, I would say take the under. But I'm thinking that it's going to be 33 even, or 33.5. Take the over in Durant points, and you're going to take the Giannis under, because I think by that time it's going to be 3-0, and I think the Bucks are just going to pack it in at that point. And Giannis is just going to – because Giannis's total has actually been right around Durant's in like the 30, like 31, 32, 33. It's been right around there. And it's not even that the Nets are playing great defense. It's just, I mean, like the Bucks just don't hit shots. I mean, Giannis doesn't hit shots either. It's funny that I say this, because the Nets had played no defense all year long. Now all of a sudden the Bucks can't even score 50 points and a half. against this team. It's truly amazing. But anyway, yeah, I'm taking that game 4, Durant over 33.5 points and Giannis under. Most likely it's going to be around 32, 33. So take Giannis under, Durant over.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that one a lot. I think that one's really good. And like you said, they'll pack it in more likely. They'll be down 3-0, and KD's just gonna want to cut it off. It's like
Yeah,
no
slim
messing
Reaper,
around.
Slim Reaper in a
Yeah,
closeout game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's gonna
Giannis even
ball out.
said they didn't want to play with their food. KD's gonna be the same way. He just man wants the ball. So for mine, I'm going with looking at the way that Chris Paul has played over the past few games. This one's kind of tough because he's still kind of hurt a little bit. Not really, but he's been playing through an injury. But Monkey Knife Fight has been having Chris Paul's assists at around like 8.5 to 9.5 per game. He's had double-digit assists the last 2 games. So, and I think he kind of continues that trend because now he's starting to get healthier, and he is really he's probably the best pure point guard in the league right now. When you talk about a guy, he can get a bucket. Don't you worry. Like in their win against Denver, he dropped 21 points and shot 2 of 3 from 3. Like that's amazing. He's gonna get his buckets, but the offense still runs through him in a sense that he's the one that's setting up the plays. He's the one that's driving and kicking, finding open guys, dumping it down to DeAndre Ayton. So for instance, tonight, his more or less is at 9.5. I think that trend continues. I think he hits that 10 or more for it. Specifically, when is their next game? When is their next game?
They played today. Do they go
that's
back,
right.
They go back to Denver, right? So Thursday or no, Friday? Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Unless I'm screwed up and it's Friday.
Let me see. It's Friday. Yeah. It's Friday. So yeah, they'll go to Denver on Friday. So if it's hovering around anywhere from 8 to 9 on Friday, I would definitely take the over on Chris Paul assists.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Chris Paul. In my opinion, Chris Paul is always a lock. Like to always have like 8, 9 assists, or then he like can explode for 10 or more assists. I think he's always one of those guys that's just always going to be getting a lot of assists, especially with the guys on the Suns, the way they're all hitting shots. I mean, right now it's like the Suns are as hot can be. They all have their game sliders up to 99 three-point shot. That's basically what it is, because you got guys like Cameron Payne and Jay Crowder hitting 3-pointers like they're Steph Curry, and Devin Booker's playing on rookie. It's like Devin Booker's playing on rookie with his game sliders up to three-point percentage 100. That's what Devin Booker's playing. So Chris Paul, all he's got to do is just give him the ball, and they'll do the rest. Yeah, I like that. Chris Paul over 10 assists, I think is real easy play. So we will now get into my soggy toast. My soggy toast is a guy that I am just so sick and tired of him thinking that he is a superstar when he is not. And that is a 7'3", washed up. Yeah, mind you, washed up. The guy's only been in the league for maybe 6 years. Kristaps Porzingis. Okay, I am so sick and tired of hearing this guy talk. Now he's not happy with the Mavs, saying that he's tired of. He wants to be a co-star with Luka, and he feels like Luka dominates the ball too much, and he's more of a he's forgotten about, and Luka hogs the spotlight. Well, I'm sorry, but the 21-year-old kid basically almost beat the Clippers by himself. And what were you doing? Bricking every single 3 that you took. You have helped. Kristaps Porzingis has helped Luka in absolutely zero way. Whenever KP has gotten the opportunity to, be that second guy for Luka, it just hasn't happened. I mean, Luka Luka is a guy that's going to get his, like you know that. But at the same time, Luka is one of those special talents where he is going to dish out the ball. He's going to get his assists, and he's going to be a facilitator when he needs to be. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis on that team should always be the second leading scorer every night behind Luka. He really should be. You should not have Tim Hardaway Jr. outscoring you in every game of the series. I mean, are you kidding? Are you are you serious? Tim Hardaway Jr. is outscoring you in the series. I mean, there's games where
Another Knicks legend,
another
Tim
Knicks
Hardaway
legend,
Jr.
yes, another Knicks legend in Tim Hardaway Jr. It's just embarrassing, and you know what? I'm like so sick and tired of hearing about KP because he thinks that he's a superstar when he couldn't face the adversity in New York, and it's just like bad. Not even bad luck because he forced his way out. Then, now the Knicks are actually good, and he can't be the guy that they drafted that turned out to lead them back to the promised land. Like no, now Julius Randle got all that love, and Kristaps Porzingis is just nobody likes him. Mavs fans don't like you. Knicks fans don't like you. So
Yeah.
I don't know, buddy.
Hey, I mean, Trey apparently wants him in Boston.
Yes,
He
Trey would
well,
like KP.
but it's because Trey's hatred for Kimba is so high right now.
I think he's a little. I think his head's a little messed up. I think he needs Kemba to just go away off that team.
Yeah.
He needs to stop seeing Kemba with the Yankee hat on every press conference.
Yeah. What would be really funny is the Thunder are one of the favorites right now to land Kemba, and one of the trade pieces that they're talking about to make the contracts work is Al Horford. Because
oh God. back
Celtics legend Al Horford.
The boys are back in town.
Oh man. I would love to see that happen just to see Trey's head.
I really would love to see Trey's
and he's gonna, and even if the KP trade was to happen, then he would be just as frustrated with KP because he'd either miss half the season for being injured, and then the time that he's in there, he would not be great.
No.
So for my soggy toast, you talk about your teams being down bad. I'm gonna switch over to baseball, talk about how my team is down bad, and it is the St. Louis Cardinals, the losers of 7 straight.
Oh boy, I thought we were bad. Jesus.
Yeah. They have won 1 game in the month of June. And they are 1 of 9 in their last 10. If that goes to show you anything, they have fallen to 3rd place in the NL Central after leading by about 4 games or so towards the end of May. They have just completely fallen apart. Okay, there is maybe 1 or 2 pitchers on the roster that has an above 500 record. And one of them is the guy whose name I always forget how to say his name.
Jack Flaherty. I actually heard.
Yeah, Jack Flaherty. Yeah, he did. So he did. So he hasn't pitched in a while. But you still have pitchers. You still have like Adam Wainwright out there, for goodness sakes. And then
I don't know how Adam Wainwright is still playing, man.
The pitching has been awful. And then here's the numbers. They lost to the Dodgers 14-3. They got swept in a 4-game series against Cincinnati at home, 42, 6-4, 5-2, 8-7, and then lost the first game of a 2-game series against Cleveland, lost it 10-1, got another game against Cleveland, and then they have to travel to Chicago and play the red hot Cubs. Okay? There is no rest for the weary, except for when they got a 3-game series against Miami, then a 4-game series in Atlanta. This is going to be an absolutely abysmal month for the Cardinals. It's not like the bats have necessarily been quiet because, again, 7 runs and a loss to Cincinnati, 4 runs and a loss. It's like, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. It's just the pitching is atrocious. This bullpen is awful. This may be the worst Cardinals bullpen I have ever seen in my life. Even with the casual keeping up with the Cardinals, I don't think the bullpen has been this bad. It is awful. So my biggest hope for the Cardinals going forward is that hopefully next season they get this bullpen thing figured out. Because if not, then there's some good talent on this roster, offensively and defensive wise, but they are going to waste it.
Yep.
Because they do not have good pitching.
Yeah, that was a big concern of mine for the Cardinals coming into this year, because you got Nolan Arenado. I mean, the Cardinals lineup was stacked to begin with. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Yadi Molina's having a renaissance year. You know, the lineup's good. The lineup is not bad. Starting rotation is not bad either. Jack Flaherty is one of like the good young pitchers in the game. I mean, Adam Wainwright, he is what he is. He's old as dirt, but sometimes those old guys still have magic left in those sleep. Like CC Sabathia for us in 2017, that playoff run, we went to the ALCS with a team that I did not expect to even make the playoffs. CC he looked like his old self. He just turned back the clock that year. Sometimes these old guys, future Hall of Famers, they have a way to like just pull magic out of thin air. But the Cardinals, my one big concern for them was the bullpen, and it has reared its really ugly head this month. Early this month, it's only the second week of June, and the Cardinals just have not looked good at all. Although, give you guys credit, you are up 6-2 right now against the Indians, but
yeah,
I'm assuming that once Wainwright comes out of this game, it's going to go all down south, as the Indians will probably go and put up a 5 spot in an inning. But
yeah,
I was going to say, hey man, it's baseball. You got your ups, you got your downs. I think the Cardinals are a good enough team to pull themselves out of this, though. I wouldn't be too worried. I think you guys will still make the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, just to show you how down bad the Cardinals are in pitching wise, this blows my mind. And so Carlos Martinez, and like, granted, it's a little bit it's inflated because he hasn't thrown a full 9 innings in the past week, but that's just how bad Carlos Martinez has been pitching. His ERA over the past 7 days, 28.
Oh my God.
And that's because in the game against Los Angeles a week ago, he pitched for 2/3 of an inning and gave up 10 earned runs.
Oh, that was the 11-run first inning game where Cody Bellinger
and then
had like 8 RBIs in the inning.
Yeah,
crazy. And they get like 6 RBIs. He had 2 RBI double and a grand slam. Oh my God. In the same inning. Oh,
greatest inning of his life.
Yeah, 100%.
And then started last night, or the previous game against Cleveland, pitches 4 innings and gives up 5 earned runs. So in a week span, because he has thrown less than 9 innings, because you have to average it out that way, man has almost a 29 ERA in a week.
Well, don't gotta be a brain surgeon to figure out that is terrible.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
That is awful.
Listen, like I said, I've casually followed the Cardinals for recently, for maybe the past 5 years. I've casually followed them. I know who Carlos Martinez is. As a casual, I knew Carlos Martinez is not it. Yet this man finds himself in the starting rotation of a major league club every year, and it just so happens to be my club that I root for. I'm done with him. Like literally in MLB The Show, I cleared out the rotation. There is not a single person. There may be 2 relief pitchers that are on this initial roster that I kept, and they should hire me because in 3 years of rebuilding, I won a World Series.
There you go.
Won 109 games and won a World Series in my 3rd year.
Yeah, well, the Yankees need you as a GM.
Yeah, hire
I
me.
mean,
Hire me.
yeah, wouldn't it doesn't take anyone all that smart to build a lineup of lefty hitters when you have a home park with a short porch and right. But
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
me. That's just
Or hire batting coaches that will coach your hitters and be like, wait, wait on the ball.
or yeah,
Wait on the fastball.
or actually have a manager that shows heart or any sort of passion
That
at
too.
all. But anyway,
Hey, if I'd at least if the Yankees hired me, at least I'd make it prideful again. I
oh,
wouldn't guarantee the playoffs, but
all I'm gonna tell you is I'll be the bench. I'll be a bench coach, and my sole responsibility would be to just yell at the ump and get thrown out of games.
there you go.
Then
There you go.
I would do that better than anybody. So moving on, my toast of the week. I feel like we got to talk about it because this is going to be a big story. And it's been a big story this week. It's going to be a big story for the rest of the baseball season. Is now Spider Tack Gate, as I'm going to call it, Spider Tack Gate. So basically, for anybody that doesn't know, but you probably should know, so pitchers apparently this year have been using a whole bunch of concocted sort of illegal substances to make the to make their hands a lot more stickier on the ball to increase their spin rate so that balls basically do things that they normally wouldn't do if you didn't have this stuff. And Spider Tack
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most prominent things that's being used. And not even this year, it's been going on for a while. Trevor Bauer was a guy who a couple of years ago was already talking about this stuff. How can I improve my spin rate? I could use this, I could use that. And he literally was talking about it on Twitter. Now, out of nowhere, and this goes into my pitcher for the Yankees, or Ace, Garrett Cole, because now Josh Donaldson, called him out, basically singled him out by name, your spin rate dropped this much after MLB announced that they were cracking down on this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? It is what Garrett Cole said. I'm going to repeat what he said. It's low hanging fruit. And you know what? Whether Garrett Cole used the Spider Tack stuff or not, every single pitcher in the major leagues is using this stuff, except for maybe a couple guys that don't. And the couple guys that don't need it, I'm talking about Jacob DeGrom. And that's the end of my list. That's the only guy that does not
Literally
need
the best
it,
pitcher in baseball.
because he's the best pitcher in baseball. He does not need it. He's the only one. Everybody has been doing it. Opponent batting average has been down so bad, so crazy this year. It is down league wide. So no, it isn't just Garrett Cole. It's everybody, and that's why it's different than the Astros thing. Because the Astros were the only team that was doing their cheating to the extent that they were doing it. Okay. The stealing sign stuff has been around for a while, and you would try to get the competitive advantage of stealing signs, but no, that was different. I'm not going to go into that because that's old news, and I'm really tired of talking about it. It is what it is. It's over with. But this is different. Listen, the Spider Tack stuff, they're going to crack down on it. The guys are going to stop using it. And you know what? I want to just go and bring something up for everybody real quick, because Josh Donaldson can go and eat shit, for lack of a better term. Garrett Cole started tonight. Okay, the Yankees are up 8-2. I mean, that's besides the point. He doesn't account for any offense. So after this whole spin rate stuff and the Spider Tack crackdown, Garrett Cole threw 5 innings, 4 hits, two solo homers, which he gives up solo homers anyway. He's always done that regardless, and 7 strikeouts through 5 innings. Now, why don't we just go and talk about Josh Donaldson? Let's see, what is Josh Donaldson doing tonight? Oh, he is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Garrett Cole. So Josh, you're telling me that the sticky stuff didn't make a difference. You still can't hit off Garrett Cole anyway. It's like a joke. Does it help a tremendous amount? I don't think it helps that much. I think it helps a little bit. I think it does help, enough that it's very noticeable. But I don't think it helps so much that it's going to make you go from a fringe all-star player to, next thing you know, your top 5 pitcher in the league. I don't think that type. I don't think that's really how it's going to be working. But we'll see in the coming days. I'm just going to tell everyone that's my stance on it. Everybody's doing it, so don't go singling out Garrett Cole because everybody has been doing it this year. And now that they're going to stop it, you'll see that guys are they're still good without it. Okay, especially guys like Cole, they're still good without it. So is what that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm one of the baseball people, casual follower here. So I didn't know what Spider Tech was literally until it popped up in the news cycle this past week. I mean, I'm a traditionalist. I'm just like, just play, just be the better player. That you like. I'm always the type of person, it's like you don't need the fancy stuff. Like, but I also get it sometimes where it's like if they're not cracking down on it, then yeah. But I don't know. It's just if Garrett Cole wants to go out there, if he wants to be the best pitcher in baseball, then I don't know any other way to phrase it, but like just go out there and be the best pitcher in baseball. If anyone else that's been using it wants to be the better player in baseball, you're in that position not because you were using Spider Tech like in elementary school and in high school and in college. You got there because
chances
you're a great pitcher.
You didn't even know what that stuff. You had no idea about any of this stuff back in high school, or even maybe like early in college. But it's something that's been going on in baseball for a lot longer than people want to admit, and it's just being cracked down on now. Like the steroid era. The steroid era was the same thing. Everybody was doing it. It was going on for years. They just one day just decided to crack down on it.
Yeah, I know. And they'll always be when something like that, because it's like, again, like you said, sign stealing has been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, my speaking of the Cardinals, they got busted for like a few years ago for hacking into the Astros like system to steal whatever information. I meant to look that up. I totally forgot to, but it's like, come on, man. and it's like, I know like one of the big things was like surveillance system with the Astros. I'm sure everyone else has been doing that as long as like surveillance has been a thing. So there's always a person that gets cracked down with it. And so, like you said, Garrett Cole he's pitching phenomenally tonight. So maybe now in his mind, he'll think, I don't need anything extra to get an edge. I just be me and do me. And that's the edge that I have, is because I'm Garrett mother effing Cole, starting pitcher for one of the most historic franchises in all of sports.
Yeah, even though the Yankees suck ass right now.
As a pitcher, you could still keep it as in like, see, I'm great. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. Team's not helping me out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm giving up only 3 runs a game, but we can't even score 1 when I'm out there.
Yeah. Ask DeGrom about that. Guy's pitching to a .63 ERA and has 2 losses on the season. How do you lose 2 games when a guy he's not allowing even a run? Yeah. He doesn't average a run a game.
You're the New York Mets. That's how. That's how you're the Mets.
Basically.
Listen, when he was rehabbing, he played the single A team for the Cardinals.
Yes, he did. And the Cardinals were tweeting out, send help, Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, it's like what are we supposed to do? It's like, how are we supposed to hit that? We're single A guys. We make like $50,000 playing baseball. This is a part-time job for us. We all have summer jobs.
I tell you what, grade A++ to the intern that's running the single A Cardinals Twitter account, because they were tweeting out while the game was going on, Jacob DeGrom is throwing 100 miles an hour. Please send help. And then some guy, I remember seeing some guy was like, blah blah blah. Why should they send help? Like these guys are training to be major leaguers. Like they should be able to hit him. And some guy goes, and then the Cardinals Twitter account, they tweeted him back, and they said the oldest guy in the lineup tonight is 20 years old. Jacob DeGrom has 2 Cy Youngs. What do you want these kids to do?
Yeah, like they're training to be pros, but they're 5-6 years away, man.
He goes, they were like, okay, Kevin, why don't you come down here and grab a bat? Let's see how you do.
That's pretty much what happens with these guys.
These kids are 20 years old.
Some of these kids are still in high school.
Yeah,
and they're coming out like
The guy batting cleanup. The guy batting cleanup is 17 years old. We just grabbed him from the Dominican Republic. Okay.
Could barely speak English, and
Barely
he's
speaks
facing
English.
101 heat when the fastest pitcher in in Class A is throwing like 80-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's hilarious. It really is.
But speaking of keeping it with the baseball trend for my toast of the week, I'm handing out 2 toasts of the week here because
Double toast.
yeah, other like when we're talking about destitute franchises, I'm really on the destitute franchises tonight. Are there any 2 franchises worse than the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Colorado Rockies?
Oh, no.
Because listen, the Pirates this season have given us 2 of the most jaw-dropping plays I've ever seen. Okay, you have the one from a couple weeks ago.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, you have the one from a couple weeks ago where the first baseman, all he has to do is step on the bag, but he runs for a chase down at home, and somehow the guy gets a double out of it. Like, I don't understand. How does that even?
How do you go in a rundown from first to home?
That's T-ball level stuff. Okay,
It really is.
That's pitching machine. That's your first year on the pitching machine. You make that mistake. Okay, then you get this game against the Dodgers. K. Brian Hayes. I don't know how you say his name.
I think it's I think you said it right. I think K. Brian Hayes. Yeah.
K. Brian Hayes drills one to the opposite field, misses first base, and the Dodgers successfully challenge it. So, like, how do you do that, man?
That shit I haven't seen since I was playing in like the 13-year-old league for the city. That like, I have not seen stuff like that.
How bad are you at ball watching to the point where you're not paying attention? That's what the first and third base coach are for. So you can focus on running and you look to them and you look for their signals. You know, always when I'm running, like if I hit one out, I'm sprinting to first. This is how I always did it. I'd sprint to first, and then I'm looking at my first base coach. If he's pointing towards second or he's like holding up like this, that determines my movement. If I'm going to second or if I'm, if I'm staying at first, something like that. If you're rounding second, you're paying attention to the third base coach. He's either waving you home or he's telling you to stop there or he is screaming, get down because the throw is coming in. It is beyond a childish mistake. But it's
really bad.
But then, when you think it couldn't get any worse for anyone else in the league, the Colorado Rockies, one of their top prospects, so they spent a 4th overall pick on, not a 4th rounder, 4th overall pick, retires at age 23 because he's on the Colorado Rockies and doesn't want to be on the roster anymore. And what's his name? His name is Riley. I'm going to say Pint. 23 years old, or wait, yeah. So so Pint, we'll just call him Riley again because I'm terrible with last names unless I hear them. Was okay, drafted in 2016, still in the minors, struggled with walking batters, but still a promising prospect because the man was throwing in triple digits, walks away from the game because with the Rockies. And apparently they have had a flurry of other minor league promising pitchers. Mike Nikorak and Robert Tyler have also retired. So 3 promising pitchers in the minors retire within the span of a season, 2 seasons. Because the way baseball is, you get drafted by a team, you are stuck with them for pretty much your entire career. Unless you're one of the top elites, like someone like a Mike Trout who's getting taken out of the minors after 1 season, 1 or 2 seasons, something like that. And even in that second season, they're still going to like exercise, your AAA option so that way they can hold on to you for an extra year. They're not going to pull you up until like half the season's over, at least until the AAA season's over. So they get that little bit of extra you in the league.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, it was just a perfect storm for baseball franchises this week. The Pirates, they're never going to crawl out of the hole they're in probably, and the Rockies are the same way. And Trevor Story, he needs to get out. He needs to do like what his
He's gonna go put
buddy
he's gonna
Arenado
be
did.
putting pinstripes on soon. Don't worry.
Two terrible
That's
franchises.
that's what I would love
Two
to say. Yeah, but the Pirates and the Rockies are both just destitute franchises. The only thing I can say about the Rockies is that they've at least been to the World Series in my lifetime.
Yeah.
They went in 2007, and I mean they lost to the Red Sox, but they still were there. Uh, it just like the Pirates though are just so down bad because me and Trey, me and Trey have said this before, like a while ago. The Pirates, whenever we talk baseball, the Pirates always get brought up because there is no shot at all that the Pirates will ever be competitive in our lifetimes. There's just no way. They have not nearly enough money. All of their top players, they're basically just showcasing on the major league level until another team goes and trades for them. Like, how many times are the Pirates going to get fleeced out of players from the Tampa Bay Rays? The Tampa Bay Rays have taken so many players from the Pirates, it's not even funny. They gave the Pirates Chris Archer, who the Rays knew that Chris Archer was done. Like, Chris Archer was a pretty good pitcher right before he got hurt. He got hurt, came back for like a couple starts, and then the Rays were like, all right, we're done. That's like, we're sending him off. Trade him for Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows. And Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow are two of the Rays' best players, and so probably two of the best players in Major League Baseball. They're they're really good. They're up there. And Chris Archer just did absolutely nothing. Then Chris Archer finds his way back on the Rays. So the Rays just got two of the best players from the Pirates for nothing because they got Chris Archer back anyway. And then you could go on and on about the players that the Pirates have had. They've had Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole went on and has done, great things completely away from the team. The Pirates haven't been to the playoffs. They haven't even been, or not just even the playoffs. They haven't even been good since Andrew McCutchen and Neil Walker were in their primes. And that was a long, long time ago. I mean, I'm talking like 2014, 2013, like a long time ago. So both of those franchises are just doomed. And the way baseball is with no salary cap and they don't got money, they ain't gonna
That's
be
tough.
doing too much. Yeah,
That's tough. Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's rough out in these streets. You gotta hustle, and they're not the ones hustling, I guess.
Yeah, gotta do better in the farming system. But like you said, they get players that are good enough, and it's just like can't afford them, ship them somewhere else.
That's
and
exactly what they do. They
and
can't afford
then
them.
they explode, and they become
and then they
great.
explode in other places, and then they're all sitting there. They're like, it's like the meme of the dog with all the fire going around. They're just like, this is fine.
Yeah. And real quickly to close out, going back to my Cardinals like rebuild for MLB The Show. I forget the pitcher's name, but he was from the Pirates. Got him on a good deal, just some like crappy prospects, and I think it was like Yadier Molina that I gave up for him because there was like a catcher in the minors that I got from them that turned into like the heir apparent for Yachty. And then I got a pitcher. It's one of their starting pitchers. I forget his name, but ended up having like almost a Cy Young type season. He went like 14-4 in a season, and I pitched one game with him, and oh my gosh, it was very nice. I think I only gave up like 2 hits. It's like the best game I've ever pitched on the show because I've got the settings so high. Because it's like if I'm gonna win, I'm doing it at the highest setting I can play at. And he turned into like a solid rotational piece, and then it's like I even extended him for like a super cheap deal. So, if you're bad at farming, then just look at the Pirates because they're gonna have guys there that have pro experience, already built in, and you can get them probably for the
they get top 10 picks year after year. So they got their farm system's pretty good.
Yeah,
they just can't afford to keep any of them, but they got a good farm system. All right, guys. But that will do it for us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Also, don't forget you go on Monkey Knife Fight. Like I said before, we got our promo code Vendetta, 100% match bonus up to $100, and go out there win yourself some money. But until then, we will see you all again next week. Hopefully by that time, I am celebrating the Clippers getting their asses kicked by the Jazz, but we will see. Anyway, in due time. See you guys next week.